also in view of the time. Then another opening that we found is going to ethics. Okay, going to ethics, because when you say you want to change society, you got an idea of what is good, no? Remember, let's make things better. What is better? You know, these are very fundamental questions. We can't answer them for our students, but we can show them that different ethical systems will lead to different ways of interacting, different interaction styles, okay? Not only cultural differences, but also your philosophical, if I may say so, differences. We saw it just a while ago with, you know, the sort of greed that led to the total financial collapse of the West, I could say. I mean, so we're moving to something like tokalon. I'm using some Greek here. And tokalon in Greek means the good, but also the beautiful. For the classical Greeks, the beautiful and the beautiful and the good are the same. What we've been doing, one of the things we've been doing is also to give it a social dimension, and we've been doing an exercise now for 4 years together with the University of Florence in Italy and other universities, and we call it the project Rights Through Making. What we do is, as we can't promote any ethical system, because we can't do that, we're a state school, we fell back on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and we let students design in international teams for according to one of those rights. I'll show you a little example. This is not a good one. I'll have to skip in view of the time. Have a look at this one. This we did with students from Italy, from our place, from Brazil, and from Nigeria.
Why do you look so glum? Are you breaking behind the smile that I know you're faking? 'Cause it is no surprise, I see it in your eyes. And they just don't lie. As if your life was a broken stereo. Well, I'd be music to your ears, and your fears would be drowned in my audio. You don't hear me though, and I'd shed light on your worst case scenario. I'm crawling through the dark, my spark would light the way back home. You don't see me though, and we could be so good. Yeah, we could be so good. Why do you look so glum? Were you weeping and letting go of dreams that you know you should be keeping? 'Cause once you let them go, they're gone. But I can't help you. Hold on.
It's just trying, it's a little exercise. Oh, shut up. Anyway, it's just a little exercise. There was this, but the Italian and Nigerian guy, they really wanted to score a goal against the Brazilian. I think it's got something to do with football or whatever. But it's just a little exercise. We're trying to let people work together and in that way start a new language, not a language of talking, but a language of doing. I think we should also, in an international multicultural context, we should push that way because people love to work together. There are all sorts of problems communicating, but in their work, they're able to overcome these difficulties and they'll have fun. I mean, I think design is in the first place about fun, no? I hope it is for you. This is another exercise we did. This is a vending machine. So Philip here is trying to get a Mars bar that's up there, and he can see it, and he's standing on a wobbly sort of thing, and there's a voice interface here, and he has to shout in it. So, but this one is based on Nietzschean philosophy, ethics. Okay, so we tell them a bit about ethical systems. This is about Uberman and stuff like that, you know. But you know, when you now say I'm going to do it in a Confucian way, then you talk about balance and stuff like that. It's completely different. This is also a vending machine, and he's trying to get some candy here. But he has to do it in a completely different way. That's what I was saying before. Your ethical system that you have in the back of your mind will influence the interaction styles that you offer. Well, it didn't work out very well. And this one is not. So in the other one, in the first one, you have to be brutal, okay? But you feel threatened because there's this thing going to fall on your head and you're standing on a wobbly sort of chair, so it's not very comfortable. But here, there's a completely different question. Now look at this one. Here we get behavior, no? This is a lamp. And you can caress it and it will react to you. In this condition, it will do what you ask from it. But in this condition, it's different. It's asking for attention and it's a bit weak. So you have to encourage it, okay? I'm not pleading for this sort of, again, for this sort of products, but it's an exploration on how things might behave, okay? What are the possibilities and what are the consequences? Because we all make, or try to make perfect stuff, not complete and perfect stuff, but it collapses from time to time, doesn't it? But anyway, I'm going to show the PhD work by Philip Ross, and it explains itself. So the interaction is on. There's no switch again. No, it just touches it and then it will light up. And in this case, it will do what he asked it to do. There's also a camera in the lamp, so it knows where the book is. Here it will elicit a feeling of helpfulness in you, okay? So you have to encourage it a bit. This is a bit the same as in the other lamp, but if you're interested in this sort of work, you can, I can give you a copy of this PhD. What we do very often, and that's also something he did, is we start with dance. We like dance very much. We're trying to open up the behavioral and experiential world with dance, with movement. Yeah, come on. Right. Or look at this work, but this work is for handicapped children. And it's a PhD work by Bart Engeveld. We can't show this thing in action because we can't show the children. But it'll give you an impression. Again, as I said in the beginning, is for the skills. Try to exploit the skills of these handicapped children to the maximum. And just here you see there are stories fed to the machine. Later on you'll see you can make little sentences and these sentences will be acted out. So it's to learn language. It's also his own music. Okay. I'm approaching the end. Now, in the beginning, I was talking about what are the dreams, that I had some dreams, but now, from a theoretical point of view, what are the dreams based on? Okay? And I'm just going to touch upon that because, first of all, I'm a very firm believer, also from a philosophical point of view, I come to that in a moment, that meaning is emanating from interaction, or should be able to emanate from interaction. Okay? I'm a firm believer in action, and not so much in thinking. That will come after that. So in that sense, we've always worked, as I said, we work for skills, so we work from a Gibsonian perspective. Gibsonian perception, which has generated, for instance, the concept of affordance, but most of you will know the concept of affordance through Don Norman, I think, the work of Don Norman, no? But it's a perception thing that comes from Gibson. I perceive the world in terms of my bodily possibilities. That's the basic sentence, no? Now, if you're going to design, you have to be aware of the bodily possibilities of the people you're designing for, and also the social and all the rest, what I mentioned before. Next to that, I'm also moving into the phenomenology of Merleau-Ponty, a French philosopher, which is talking about meaning in the sensuous body. Isn't that nice? Don't we want that? I'm not going into details. If you want, maybe later on I can talk about it. But we're starting now a new European project about the perception of intentionality. That is, how can I perceive that the system wants something from me? And what does the system want from me? And how can it show me that it understood? I always tell my students, I'll give you a Nobel Prize from my personal means when this bloody machine is, because these are stupid as well, no? They say that PCs are stupid, but these are stupid, no? They're only more expensive stupid. But the thing is, sorry, I shouldn't say these things, but anyway, the thing is that I tell my students, please, could you make an interface or a computer or whatever you like to call it that just once tells me, I understand you, Kees. Instead of making that horrible noise that I did something wrong. Because I didn't do anything wrong, it just doesn't understand me. It's a stupid thing. No? We're talking about intelligence all the time, but the things that surrounding us are stupid. And they don't tell us they're stupid. They look intelligent. They should tell me. The first thing a computer should do when you open it is tell you, I'm stupid. Can you please help me? No, it says, you're stupid, and it gives me ugly noises. Anyway, let's not go there. But could we maybe move to a more poetic rapport with the world? Our rapport with the world is so cold. But maybe we could do something like this. This is one of our students. Should I start to play a bit with the world? In this case, the light is following you. So we're exploring, in this case, the light is fleeting away from you. Right. Let's move to the end now. Conclusions. What do I believe? And this is a bit of a recapitulation of my thinking. First of all, design is about people. It is about our lives, our hopes and dreams, our loneliness and joy, our sense of beauty and justice, about the social and the good. It is about being in the world. There is a primacy of action, according to me. I said it more than once. I strongly believe that meaning cannot be detached from action. Meaning is an interaction. There is a primacy of embodiment. A design theory, consequently, must be a theory of action and the embodied in the first place, and of meaning in the second, and not the other way around. Reflection on action is the source of knowledge. The methods used must be rooted in design practice, in the social, cultural and multicultural environment, invigorated by experimental and technological methods from other disciplines. Intuition and common sense should be high on the agenda. They should be exploited to the maximum. Le sens commun n'est pas si commun, as Voltaire said. Common sense is not so common. Okay? Now, what strikes me often is that, didn't you realize that what you're proposing is just plain stupid? Nobody will ever do that. You know, try to keep I always tell my students, try to keep the stuff into reality. You're up there, but nobody is up there. I believe that design practice and research are powerful generators of knowledge. They are a way of looking at the world and transforming it. Design teaching and research should therefore be interwoven. And then for the young and the not so young, I found this quote and I like it very much, so I'm going to share it with you. It's for teachers. But the only way to develop curiosity, sympathy, principle, and independence of mind is to practice being curious, sympathetic, principled, and independent. For those of us who are teachers, it is not what we teach that instills virtue, it's how we teach. We are the books our students read most closely. We got 1 minute for the music? Or? I hope, and some people must know this, no? It's not just the students. What I usually say to my students, get an education, please. But anyway, we're not offering it. Thank you.
Time for questions, for sure. Idea, please, Houston.
Hi. First of all, thanks for the very inspiring talk. It was really a pleasure to listen to your presentation. I have actually two questions. They are kind of linked. Can you hear me? Yeah.
No, it's me. It's me. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll just take it out.
Well, firstly, I think the examples that you gave, some of them are very culturally specific. For example, the anger, kind of example with anger, you said yourself it seemed like an angry machine. I think there are such different expressions of anger in different cultures. Take the Finnish expression and perhaps the French expressions, for example, they could be very different. So how do you, I mean, are you suggesting that that all the products should be sort of like designed for specific cultures? So do you believe that some kind of like general effects suitable for various cultures can be found?
Normally when somebody asks me a question, I just say, I don't know, which is an easy... No, but no, I got answers to that. I got a few, I can't say yes or no. Okay, so in that sense, I don't know. But, you know, as things become very easy programmable, that's one solution, it could be adapted to the culture. Because I do realize that in Japan it might be different than in France or Finland, or, okay? I'm aware of that. But Another thing is, I don't know if any and all, I'm not sure if all products should be that expressive. But if they're not expressive, they're still expressive. You know what there's a conundrum there, no? There is a problem there. But anyway, what I'm trying to do is, I know it's cultural specific, but I'm trying to make the students aware of possibilities. And in that sense, I'm trying to put them, or we are trying, I'm not the only one, we're quite a big group of people trying to do that. What we are trying to do is to put them in a cultural, or in a multicultural environment as much as possible. So first of all, what I did, and I did that personally because people didn't believe in it, I opened up to our world, our Germanic world, if I may say so, but I know Finland isn't the German, but you know a bit what I mean, no? The northern world to the southern world. I think we completely neglected, except for some schools in Milan maybe, but they're Austrian, no? They're not really Italian, at least not for the Italians. But they're Austrians, no? They're always been part of Austria, so it's a bit, they're not really Italian. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, to open up to the Latin world in Europe, because there's a complete separation between the two worlds. So become aware already of the Latin element, because we in the Netherlands are very much looking at the northern countries, Scandinavia, Finland, and very much to the Anglo-Saxon world, okay? And that is becoming the norm in the world. You know that. But I think we should break through that. And so what I did, I brought people in, teachers in, from Spain, from Italy, from, like Italy starts at Florence, no? Tuscany. From there, I mean, from France, because I want us, first of all, to open to that world already. Then what we're trying to do also, all our students have, in the third year, they have to go one semester abroad, because they have to be aware of the rest of the world, because we're a very small country, no? So if we're a very small country, so that if you travel like 30 kilometers in Eindhoven, south or east, you're in another country, okay? So in that sense, it's quite international. And then another thing, I'm trying to get in as much as possible students from other places. As the exercise, the project we did, the Rice Through Making, we got people from Brazil and from Africa, from Nigeria and from Italy, and for another project we had students in from Japan. There are now Chinese students coming to the future. So the only thing I can do is confront them with the reality of this world. I mean, they know about globalization, but we should never forget, and I don't think Nokia forgets that your own thing, to open up to another culture, you have to be aware of your own. And that's why for me it's so tragic that nobody knows this music anymore. It's tragic. Everybody's talking about multicultural, but what are we going to share if we don't have anything to share? Sorry. Don't start me talking, because I'll never stop.
Hi, again, great presentation. I think one of my favorite slides that you showed was the idea that there's this lens and that you can't see the entire system.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious how you express to your students that when you have this multi-level cross-section, how do you relate to other people and explain and get them involved?
I know, I see what you mean. That is the easiest question, no, that you could ever ask me. That is the big problem. You see, I told you, when they come in, and I got examples if you want to see them later or whatever, of first semester project, where we get the students after 5 months. Okay. So first of all, we throw them into the deep water, as we say in Dutch, no? So they have to swim. That's one thing. So they get an attitude when we tell them, look, this thing, there's a challenge there. We don't talk about problems anymore, no? There's a challenge there. Could you do something with that? They get an attitude of attacking it, trying to get there. Now, this year, I don't have the results yet because we're still working on it. We did a master class in system design, and we nearly had a revolt, even with the students who were trained to expect the unexpected. Because they tell us, yeah, but exactly the question that you were asking. I mean, where's the level? Where should I look? Well, we always tell them, do it. Just start doing it. The problem is that we've been trained in abstraction. Everybody's been trained in abstraction, and nobody has been, including me, and nobody has been trained in concreteness. But the thing is, the problems and the challenges are in the concreteness and not in the abstraction. Okay?
And I would even add like complexity. I think one of the things that's really what I find
Yeah.
through that cross section of those three areas is people say simplify, but it takes understanding the complexity to make it simple. Do you agree?
Yeah. Now, it is most probably, there's some interesting experimental work on that by psychologists. You know, in our consciousness, apparently we can only master like 3 dimensions of a problem. But in our unconsciousness, I don't know what that is exactly. It's like experience. We don't know what it is. But anyway, in our unconscious thinking, we can master up to 6. So that's one thing. Okay, so complex, the more complex a problem is, the less you should think about it consciously. It would solve itself. I don't know if that's completely true, but that's what they're saying. Now, the other thing is, why do we still use designers? That's an interesting question, no? We got science from here to Beijing. No? Why do we still use designers? Why haven't they been replaced by computers?
Because they're stupid. Computers are stupid.
Yep. No, but it's a very important thing, and that's why I was hinting at new thinking, because they're procedural. And procedural thinking won't solve the problem, right? But everybody is pushing us towards procedural thinking. Give me a procedure and then I'll solve the problem. It's not true. Now, the other thing is, why do we still need designers, is because of the complexity of the problem. Science can't tackle it because it's too complex in most cases. You know, you got this little problem, is that you got this little human being in there and you got this bloody society in there, no? And you want them out of the problem because it's far too complex. But you can't. And I think designers are trained to look at a problem, let's say a challenge, in a holistic way, including all the factors. Science doesn't do that. From Descartes onwards, chop the problem up in easy digestible bits and then afterwards put them all back together. But the putting them all back together, I don't know if we are there yet. Okay?
Anybody else?
Good comments coming back from broadcasting you to about 8 different locations at the moment.
I'm virtual now.
So no questions, but I will read out one of them here. Excellent presentation. I want to be a designer again. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Whoever that was and where they are, thank you. It's like pigs in space.
If there is still, yeah, one more. Okay. Now, just curious, and how do you? I mean, I know you said that you don't really teach the students, but of course you help them see various things. And how do you help them understand how this can be linked to real product development? So perhaps this is a bit boring question to this inspiring talk. How do you make them make these, how do you help them make these great, inspiring ideas more practical so they can actually be put into the products?
I always get this question from companies. Now, there's one thing, we can't do product development. We don't do that, okay?
Yeah, but how did you teach them so that when they go to work in the companies that they could do that?
They will teach themselves. I mean, it's, you know, you might remember when you first from school came into a company, you know, most of the things you have to learn there, no? That's one thing. But you need skills, I do agree on that. Now, looking at the whole thing, we got 4 groups surrounding the students. So I'm from the Designing Quality and Interaction group. Maybe you might have seen it in places. We got a user-centered engineering group. We got a designed intelligence group, which is more the technology. And we got a business group. So combined with all that, that's one answer. We surround the students with experts. So they, you know, you might think this is a very easy teaching model. No, it isn't, because it's very demanding. And we never teach to a group like this. And we got 140 intake every year. And the maximum we teach is 15. Okay, but most of the time it's like 4 or 1. So it's very demanding on the teaching, it's very time consuming, but I think it's worth the while. But anyway, surrounding people with experts, that's one thing. They do also an internship in a company, so that's the best way of learning. By the way, can I send some students over here?
Yes, please.
Okay, so that's been arranged as well. And then what we also do is startup companies. So the university supports startup companies. But we have to tread there very carefully because we can't do product development because then industry will immediately tell us stop that. We can't even finalize designs because then the design companies will come in and say stop that. And they have Europe on their side, no? It's competition. But we do our best. There is still a problem. I'm not saying we're living in a perfect world, far from that in Eindhoven, but you know, there is a big problem of, you know, production processes and stuff like that to teach them that sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm aware. Thank you.
Okay, so some person wants to be a designer again, others may feel like they want to become a designer. So thank you very much for this inspiring talk.
Thank you.